For years, the big question around AI was always, okay, but what can we actually do with it? Well, I'm here to tell you that era of just messing around, of endless experiments, is officially over. We've moved way past the pilot stage. Now AI is a foundational force, kind of like electricity, just baked into everything. So how is this massive shift from just exploring to actually making an impact playing out? Well, we're seeing a few huge trends that really define this new era of what we're calling the Great Acceleration.
To really get your head around how fast things are moving, you've got to look at the numbers. The telephone, it took half a century, 50 years, to get to 50 million people. The internet, which we all thought was lightning fast, took 7 years. But a leading generative AI tool, it hit 100 million users, twice as many people, in just 2 months. This isn't just things getting a little faster, this is a complete break from everything we've seen before.
And honestly, that was just the warm-up act. That same tool now has over 800 million weekly users. Let that sink in. That is literally 1/10 of the entire human population using this thing every single week. The scale of this adoption, it's just off the charts. What's so wild about this is how this incredible speed is just shredding the old rulebooks. One chief information officer absolutely nailed it when they said that by the time their teams finish studying a new technology, it's already old news. That whole traditional playbook of careful, slow analysis, it just can't keep up. It's obsolete. Okay, so this brings us to our first huge trend. Innovation is compounding. And this isn't just about one new gadget getting a little better. No, it's more like a flywheel effect, where everything is spinning faster and making everything else spin faster too, right? Better tech creates more data. That data brings in more investment. The investment builds better infrastructure, which then lowers costs. And you guessed it, fuels even more experimentation. These forces aren't just adding up, they are multiplying each other, and it's creating this massive, and I mean rapidly widening gap between the leaders and everyone else.
So, the most important thing to get is this. What worked for you before will not work now. The processes you designed for human workers, they're going to break when you try to use AI agents. The infrastructure you built for the cloud, it just can't handle the new economics of AI. So we're not talking about making small tweaks here. This is about a fundamental, ground-up rebuild.
All right, on to our second major trend, AI goes physical. For decades, AI has basically lived inside our screens, in data centers. But now it's breaking out of that digital cage and into our physical reality. We're talking about intelligence that you can literally reach out and touch. So what does physical AI even mean? Well, think of it this way. It's the tech that lets a machine see, understand, and interact with the world around it, all by itself. This is the big leap. This is what turns a dumb, pre-programmed machine into an autonomous one that can think on its feet. This image really captures that shift perfectly. We're moving away from robots that just blindly follow a list of instructions to these new, adaptive systems that can actually perceive what's going on around them, learn from it, and make decisions in the moment. So imagine a factory robot that can actually see a drop tool on the floor and figure out a new path around it on its own. That's the game we're in now.
And this is showing up in so many different forms. We've got these super specific robots in manufacturing, autonomous cars on our streets, humanoid robots designed to work right next to people, and drones inspecting bridges or dropping off packages. Physical AI isn't some sci-fi dream. It's here, and it's already changing everything.
Now for our third trend, and it's a big one, the rise of the silicon workforce. Yeah, we're talking about AI agents, these autonomous systems that promise to handle entire jobs. But as you're about to see, a lot of companies are hitting a pretty serious reality check right now. The tech itself is incredibly powerful. AI agents can perform tasks, they can talk to each other, they can hit business goals. The potential is massive. So what's the problem? Why are so many businesses struggling to actually make this work and see a real transformation?
This chart, wow, it just lays it all bare. You see that while almost 40% of companies are piloting AI agents, only a tiny 11% have actually put them into production. And look at this, a staggering 51%, more than half, are either just poking around or have no strategy at all. There is this huge gap between playing with the tech and actually getting real value from it. And here it is, the #1 reason why this is happening. Companies are trying to jam these super advanced AI agents into their old, clunky human design processes. They're just automating broken workflows instead of seizing this incredible opportunity to completely redesign how the work gets done in the first place. The companies that are actually winning are taking a totally different path. Listen to this from HPE's CFO, Marie Myers.
She says the goal isn't to just fix one little problem. It's to pick a whole end-to-end process where you can truly transform how you operate. That mindset right there, reimagine the work, don't just automate the old way, that's what separates the winners from the losers.
So all of this amazing AI, the physical bots, the agent workforce, it all has to run on something. And that brings us to our fourth trend, what we're calling the infrastructure reckoning. Because the tech backbone that our whole digital world runs on, it just wasn't built for this, and frankly, it's starting to crack under the pressure. And at the very center of this whole mess is a paradox. The cost for a single AI task, what's called a token, has absolutely plummeted. It's cheaper than ever. But because everybody is using it so much, the total AI spending for companies is just skyrocketing. We're talking about companies getting monthly bills in the tens of millions of dollars. The economics are forcing everyone to completely rethink their strategy. So the smart solution isn't cloud versus on-premise anymore. That's old thinking. The leading companies are using a much smarter, three-tier hybrid strategy. They use the cloud for its amazing flexibility, for trying new things and handling unpredictable workloads. Then, they bring their steady, high-volume work back in-house, on-premises, to get those costs under control. And finally, they use edge computing for those real-time things where every single millisecond is critical. Okay, so we've seen how AI is becoming physical, how a new silicon workforce is popping up, and how the entire tech infrastructure is getting a massive overhaul. So let's bring this all home. Let's look at the actual playbook that separates the real leaders from everyone else in this new AI era.
The patterns are actually pretty clear. First off, the winners always start with a real business problem, not just some cool piece of tech they want to play with. Second, they value speed over perfection. They'd rather fail fast on a small pilot than miss the entire wave. Third, and this is so important, they design with their people, not just for them. And finally, they get that this isn't some one-and-done project. They treat change and evolution as just the new normal.
And this brings us right back to that core idea we started with. It's these principles that create that flywheel effect, where every success makes the next one bigger and faster. Innovation compounds, and with every single turn of that wheel, the gap between the organizations that get this and those that don't, well, it just grows wider and wider, and it's growing exponentially.
Look, at the end of the day, this moment we're in isn't about enhancement. It's not about doing the same old things just a little bit faster. It's about rebuilding from the ground up. The technology works, the acceleration is very, very real, and that gap is widening by the day. So the only question left for you is, which side of it are you going to be on?